So hey y'all, we are live. We're really excited to be coming to you live, transparently. I am an elder millennial, so I don't really know a lot about how technology works. But we wanted to try something new. We wanted to. I have bubbly water. Hope you have something bubbly while you're listening to us, and record a little New Year's
Oh,
show for y'all. So how are y'all doing? And also, like, I think you can keep up in the YouTube chat and we will see it in the comments, which is really cool. So talk to us in the chat. In the
I
Oh,
think maybe even the Twitter. I'm not sure, but we'll see.
I would have no way of knowing.
uh, in the Twitter.
In the Twitter.
How are y'all doing? Look, Sandra and Tonya, how are y'all? How y'all doing?
I'm doing okay. It's rainy. I was gonna try to host something for my friends, and they were like, "We're not trying to come out in the rain." So I don't know if I'm gonna be doing that tonight. But I'm doing okay. I've been relaxed. Having, vacation is great, and wishing it could be longer. So I'm just gonna try to enjoy the next 2 days while I can. Then all hell will break loose when we start work again.
Ooh.
I know.
Oh,
I'm trying to be in denial about work.
uh-huh. What is work? I don't know what you're talking about. I wouldn't know anything about it. I don't have a job that I'm dreading returning to in 3 days. So I'm not working on Monday. I also saw someone in the chat. It was Sam asked, "Is it raining men? Hallelujah, though." And I will say, absolutely not. And I will say hallelujah for that. Because I am absolutely uninterested in men. So that's how I am. I don't have sparkling water or champagne, but I do have this glittery
Oh, that's pretty.
That is pretty.
my water, and I just have straight whiskey.
You get the party started early.
Early. Okay.
This is it for me. This is the only alcohol I'm having, because it's like, if I'm gonna have alcohol on New Year's Eve, it's gotta be like before 5 p.m. because I'm not trying to go into 2023 with a hangover.
I love that. Yeah, I actually wasn't feeling great, so I was like, let me just drink a little bit of this sparkling water. I had a little kombucha earlier. I was like, this is who I am. This is who I am now, elder millennial. Y'all ready to get this show started? I feel like we have so much to talk about because we were missing the week. There's been like Sprina movement. There's been maybe the hook is here. There's been so much. So y'all ready? I will say that I've been really bootleg and I barely did recap. But here we are.
Let's do it. I don't have any notes, so it's just all from the heart.
Well, let's do it. Yeah, I barely shout out to Soap Central. I tell y'all to go there for your recaps all the time, and that is where I went to do just a few boom, boom, boom. So Vanna met with Andre Maddox to get a lead on Lucy. Heather offered to spy on Ryan and to help spy on Esme if she could stay at Camp Prison. She was very flirty with lots of men to do that. Love Heather.
Mhm.
Dex tells Michael about some of Sonny's upcoming shady business deals, and that Mex chemistry don't stop. Carly continues to scheme to keep Drew from finding Willow's birth parents. Caroline. BLQ is missing Chase, and Chase's cop case will be reviewed again in Q2, whatever that means. Laura and Martin visit Cyrus, who gives them a warning about Victor. Milo get engaged. Britt parties and karaoke's and plans to leave town. Sprina get romantical. Esme escapes and dives off the parapet in front of Nicholas and the hooker after not being able to get Sprina. Shout out to Maxie. Sets her sights on Joss.
Wow. Things happened.
Things happened.
It was like a week of things.
Mm-hmm.
I actually took notes for the past 2 weeks because we didn't record over the Christmas either.
Yeah.
So lots of stuff happened in the 2 weeks.
A lot.
Well, what was your favorite moment, Sandra, from the week?
My favorite moment from the week was Sprina out in the cold, but not cold. As Spencer said, he didn't even realize it was cold at all. It was giving parapet throwbacks, and not just, the murdery parapet throwbacks that there were also this week. But those kind of like first really more explicitly romantic moments between Sprina back when Sydney was playing Trina. And so it felt like a really lovely connection back to the last time when Sprina was like really cute and sweet without any complications, or like complications beyond Spencer being a stalker. Little did we know back then that things were about to get a lot worse. But I really loved getting to see Tabiana and Nicholas's chemistry on display, without me having like a lot of like weird, complicated feelings like I was having during the sex tape storyline. Like it just felt nice to relax into them, to also get to see them scheming together. Their little plan is so extra. It could go wrong in about a zillion different ways. It's very chaotic. It is obviously just kind of driven by their desire for each other. So it gets an A+ for me for a soap plan. Yes. And that little move with when Spencer put the jacket on Trina and then like untucked her hair.
That's her man now. I don't make the rules.
You know what?
Touch your hair. That's your man.
Yes. I mean, I think Spencer knows that. I don't know if Trina knows that. Like, that's been very clear. Yes. So it's going to be Sprina for me closing out the new year together.
Yeah. I was like really excited. I knew you were going to say Sprina, so I have a different one. Ooh. Okay. I knew you had. I knew you were gonna say Sprina. But what I do want to say that I love that they just didn't pretend, because one of the things that have been annoying me about like the way that they have been interacting was that they were like pretending like they didn't have feelings for each other, or like they were like, oh, I don't know, like maybe you liked me, maybe you didn't. They was like together. They were like, yeah, we didn't act on these feelings that we had before. I was like, thank you. Like the Kim is the Kim. Y'all know the Kim. Y'all know y'all had these feelings. And so like for us to be on the other side of that hump felt so good. Felt so good. And so I will say my favorite thing was Vanna. It was so out of place, and I loved it anyway. Andre Maddox, the actress, or the actor, looking fine. I was like, what's going on here, Andre? What's up? Looking good. And Valentine's like jealousy of like, it was just perfect. Vanna, perfect always. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Andre, you can come home whenever you like. You can come home to Port Charles. I know people have shit to say about you, but I don't.
And you know who else probably won't? Get back with Fine Ass Jordan.
Yes.
I would love it. Yes. Because the most unrealistic thing that's happening on Canvas right now, of all the soap shit, all the unrealistic things that's happening, is that men and women are not falling at the feet of Fine Ass Jordan.
Cheers.
And Sam says Andre's sitting there delivering shade to Val as Val is sitting right there. Yes, I loved it.
Hilarious.
It was amazing.
That was. I had several things that I liked.
Tell us, and your performer of the week. We want it all.
Yeah, so my favorite moments were definitely there's a lot of Brit this week and the last week because she's saying goodbye. And so one of my favorite moments was, well, two, was Brit and Liesel in their mom and daughter moment. I was crying. It was very sad. And I kind of felt like they were also just kind of expressing not only their feelings within the characters, but also as two actresses, have they worked together? And this is their goodbye moment. I loved it. I cried. I also loved Brit and Brad karaoke. They were singing my favorite song. And I thought they actually did really good. Now I heard that it was, pre-recorded and they practiced, whatever. It didn't matter. I thought they were amazing. And
Perry did talk about it. So it was pre-recorded and then they sung over it. So there was like the live oohs and ahs.
Yes. So I loved that. I also loved the scenes with Jeannie Francis this week. One with her brothers, Laura and the bros, as well as her scene with Nicholas. And but to talk a little bit, I mean, it's always great to see Michael E. Knight and the actor who plays Cyrus, name forgets me.
Jeff Kober.
Jeff Kober. You guys, I'm going through this old age thing where I can't remember names at all. So forgive me. But
I remember my best friend
Jeff Kober and Michael E. Knight together. They are amazing. And with Laura, I loved that Cyrus was like putting it out there that Victor is your enemy. He's my enemy. I'm going after him. And Laura, even though she was very skeptical of it, also seemed a little intrigued. And I like that. So I enjoyed those scenes. And I also enjoyed Laura with her son, Nicholas, just really kind of begging him to be his own man and says, most important, I mean, you're a cast iron, you're this and that, but you are my son and I'm going to stand by you. And, she was amazing. So loved those scenes. Third, loved the Ava and Carly Christmas and the Ava and Elizabeth confrontation. Ava is amazing. Maura West is amazing. And then those scenes were pretty powerful. Well, Ava and Carly, folks thought that they were being too nice to one another, but they've had those moments before. But it was also comedy, whereas, Carly's like, are you going to come in? I'm not going to sell you twice. Or, all those little comic moments, but at the same time, sniping at each other, but at the same time, recognizing that they have kinship and being dumped by their men. I loved it. It was great. But the best part for me was Ava and Elizabeth. Oh my God. If I was Elizabeth, I would have been peeing my pants the whole time. Ava was menacing with a capital M. And I was scared for her. It was amazing. So as you can see, those are be along the lines of my favorite. Those are my favorite performances as well, between Maura West and Liz, Britt and Liesel, and Jeannie Francis. You guys did it for me these past 2 weeks. But yeah, they were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
When Liz was like, I had a miscarriage, and Ava was just like, I'm so sorry for your loss. Killed me. I screamed. I loved it so much. It's the only thing I liked about the Niz fake baby no longer existing.
Ugh. Everything about the fake baby no longer existing makes me so mad because it was my favorite part of that story. Like, that was what I was here for. I will say, I mean, a little bit of like behind the scenes stuff, like we know that the actor who plays Nicholas is going to be gone. Peace out, bro. And the scenes with Jeannie Francis, I was like, oh, this is probably why he got fired. I would. Jeannie was giving her all. It was beautiful. Somebody was like, "Oh, it would have been better if she was like talking to, or like the only like he was like talking to cardboard. Talking to cardboard would have been better because it would have been less distracting.
Mm-hmm.
If I were anyone who worked there with power, when that scene was over, I would have just went and like hit Marcus on the shoulder, like, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Yeah.
It was not good. And I was like, is this after he found out he was fired? Like what like cause like just it was like, go ahead, bro, give us nothing. It was not good.
How is that any different from how he usually is, though?
I mean, it's not, but it was really bad. I saw like a lot of people being like sad that he was leaving, and I was like kind of trying to put myself in like the shoes of someone who would be sad he was leaving, and I couldn't.
Well, Tracey, how are you supposed to put yourself in the shoes of Scientology bots? I mean, I know AI has come a long way, but we're not there yet for me to believe that there are this many people that are this sad. Where have y'all been? This man has been getting dragged up and down all the social media streets for years. And now you come through? I don't know. I don't think I buy it.
And like a lot of times, I didn't even feel comfortable coming at him as an actor. I would have just been quiet. It was that he was also like a bad person. Like it was the siding with Ingo for me. I was like, all right, well, you're fair game.
Okay, we'll get back to this later. We're still supposed to be talking about favorite performances.
This is what happens. The sparkling water has me going wild.
Sparkling water.
It's the lemon effervescence that just went to my head.
Oh.
Yes, Jeannie was amazing. It reminded. I did actually really love. I loved her, obviously, with Michael E. Knight and Jeff Kober. I mean, what a delight to have those three together. Again, it's been a really long time. And so that felt like such a treat. And it felt like a little hint at more to come, I hope. Now, they did make us think that like there was going to be more happening with this Ice Princess storyline. I mean, I in my mind, I had it happening like in the summer and we'd be wrapping it up by the winter and it's just really starting, but I digress. I love them together and I agree, Tonya. I think Jeannie as Laura talking to Nicholas, like trying to get through to him, regrounded me in that relationship and just made me even more excited for when she finds out that it wasn't Elizabeth, it was Esme. Because like her reaction to finding out it was to thinking it was Liz was great. Like Niz again, because you know who's not a Niz shipper? Laura.
No.
Laura is not a Niz shipper. Laura has never been on board. Laura said, I don't care about the chem. This is messy. You both need to do better. And so for her to get this upset, but then still be like, you know what? It's okay. Like, I still love you. I still believe in you. Would she say all these things if it was Esme? Like if she knew the truth. And that's what I do like about this story. It's like, I think I said this last week, there's the layer of reactions that people are having to Niz and their fake whatever. But like the reactions, if they actually knew what Niz was really up to, that's what I look forward to.
Same. Yeah. I think maybe it was a good performance. I don't know. But the extra that was with Esme, I wanted to jump through the TV and slap him.
Oh, Demetrius,
Yes.
the day player.
Yes. I wanted to slap him. So I guess that was a good performance.
Just menning.
Menning. And I'm like, shout out to Avery Pohl for that dive. Like,
I tell you, I loved that dive so much. Like, I loved her commitment to it. I loved how fucking extra it was. Like, I was like, I hate Esme so much, but goddamn, I do love Avery.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
I really wanted her to grab his hand and then pull him off the parapet. That's what I was thinking was going to happen. But yeah, okay, I guess she'll fall off the parapet.
I'm right there with you.
But
I'm right there with you.
I was like, yes, take his hand and pull him off the parapet. You should do. And that would have been the perfect exit. Because then we wouldn't know if he was dead or alive. And then once they found him, we get the new Nicholas. And then there you go. Perfect. Clean. Everything that we all are dreaming and wanting. But apparently they're going to drag this out, I guess, another month or two. So, because I'm hearing his last scenes are in January. So I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, Sandra, what has been working for you for this week and for this year? What's been working for you?
Let's see. This week, obviously, Sprina. I already talked about that. I talked about those like scenes in particular at the Haunted Star. I like the direction of the storyline. I loved the Ava and Spencer scenes. I thought it was like just the right balance. Like it wasn't, I love that, you know, when Spencer said, I know we're not going to be friends. And Ava was like, of course not. Like, friends with your ass, please. But there is like a begrudging respect, just shy of maybe a smidge of affection. Like I loved when she was walking out and she was gave her loving goodbye to Trina and was like, be good to Spencer. I was like, this is actually the energy that he needs. Too bad she's not going to be his step parent anymore. I do kind of wish they would like keep the thread of her being in control of his money. I think that's an interesting thing that I hope they don't just let go. Because I know that he has access to it now, but it's still technically like because she deems it so.
Right.
So I think that would be really interesting thing to keep them tied, because I really want to see them team up against Nicholas together like so badly. So that really worked for me. This lead up to Victor and Ava is really working for me. I loved their scenes together. Their most recent scenes together after Ava found out about the fake Niz affair. And those were just like electric and also really funny and just intriguing. And I loved when Victor had the scene with Nicholas, and at the end he was like, you know, you and Ava are both heading to better places. And he was like, you, and then there's better things ahead for Ava. And I was like, damn right. You damn right. So, there's people's comments
popping. I know, I was like, whoa.
Very distracting. I can't think and read comments at the same time. So yes, those things really worked for me. I loved Andre showing up as discussed. I love the chemistry between that actor and Finola. I mean, who doesn't Finola have chem with? But it was like a nice little moment. It was also a nice little moment to see Valentine jealous, as he should be, because Andre is fine. But I also just like those kinds of drop-ins. And it was it's nice to see Anna at the center of any triangle. So even if it's just for an episode. And for what worked for me for the year, overall, I loved Peter dying. Oh, and I see so does Jen in the comments. I loved Peter's death. I thought after it went on for far too long, the end was very satisfying. I liked that it was Felicia. I liked that Anna was the one who saw him off. I loved Finola's performance. So it was like a really good end to a very bad story. I also really actually love the Hook storyline. I think that it's actually probably my favorite storyline of the year. I like how many different people it's engaging. I like that there are stakes. I mean, some people might find the stakes to be higher than others. I know. Sorry, Brando fans. Sorry, Rory fans. Sorry, Diane fans. Although you turned out to be okay in the end. But I like serial killer storylines because I think they do bring kind of like the disparate parts of Port Charles together. There's a little bit of mystery. And I can also say that I like the storyline because I don't know the conclusion yet. So far, it hasn't given me too many opportunities to be distracted by things not making sense because everything's like still a mystery right now. So I'm enjoying that. I would like to enjoy the Ice Princess storyline more, but there hasn't been enough of it to be revealed. So I would say, yeah, overall, that storyline works the best out of all the ecosystems. And then the couple that worked the best was obviously Vanna. And I would say that Vanna is if I were to pick the top thing that GH did the best thing it did for itself, for us, for the actors, was Vanna. They kept momentum. Even with Valentine being off screen for as long as he was, we were still engaged. And they really made the most of JPS and his schedule in this lead up. And it's just like, what is the heart of what makes soaps good? Romance, drama, intrigue, a little bit of like element of it being forbidden, on the run. Love and On the Run. And that's one of the things that like I think always made GH like this special to me the entire time that I've watched it, as opposed to other soaps, is that kind of positioning within this like international, the world feels so big with GH when they're able to lean into the Spymance stuff. And so I really appreciate that. And then there was one last part, but I think I'm forgetting. Anyway, I'm sure y'all have plenty of beautiful things to say about Vanna as well. But I would say if I were to pick out one thing to take away from GH, it's just like, keep doing what you're doing with Vanna, and can you spread some of that magic around?
For sure. Yeah, I won't say too much more about Vanna. I just said Vanna works. Like literally, this is what I wrote. Vanna works. The chem, the story, the commitment from the actors, the great performances. More, please. And I think that like you summed it up so perfectly when you talked about them being on the run. I think about like this like I think people try to find parallels between Vanna and Sabrina because these are like popular couples. And I think that part of the reason I find a parallel between them is because both sets of actors and both sets of characters within those couples are like active characters, that there's so much story to tell for them. Unlike some other characters, but like there's so much story to tell from them. It just keeps going. You don't have to worry about like, oh, we're gonna run dry, we gotta slow it down. Like they generate story. And so I think that that's what makes them work. That there's never going to be a time where I don't want to see what Vanna is up to, because there's always going to be like something good for them to do and some good story for them to tell. And in the midst of that, they'll also be like making out on wheelbarrows, and I'll love it. You know what I mean? Like either way. So it's like they have the action, they have the romance, they have the sexiness, and I think that that is like the part that makes them work the best for me. I also said what works for me this week and in general is the chemistry between the young adult set. So each of them I think are really great in their own right, and they're great together when they do young adult scenes. We don't get enough of that. I think, you know, we had that at the pool. We had like some of those scenes, and I wish we had more. But they also like individually lift up the adult performers around them. So like Trina and Hat Daddy has been like just a wonderful surprise. Like I had no idea that this was like something I would have wanted to see. Um, we love Cyrus and Jeff Kober, and we had been wanting to see him with Nicolas Chavez, and it completely delivered for me. They were so good together. I think I loved the Joss and Nina scenes. Like I love Cam and Liz together. I think that's like one of the best parts, aside from her scheming with Nicholas about the fake baby. I think that like I always hated seeing Liz because she was with Finn. And the reprieve from seeing Liz with Finn was seeing her with Cameron. And seeing him like step into his own and be like a very caring brother and son and partner. So I thought that was really good. And then I'll talk something I wanted to say about Sabrina is, you know, the chemistry between these actors has been really effortless. And they've been together, they've been apart for so long that it's been hard to see it. And then it's always like this anger. There's this like underlying tension that's not like a sexual tension. It's like a frustration tension because of their story. And it's interesting to me that now that they're together in this kind of like convoluted, we're going to pretend to be together way, that like we are actually seeing them like release some of that tension, and like actually have fun together, and have the conversations that they needed to have in a way that's like supportive of each other. Did not love Trina apologizing to him, because I think that Trina was completely right in like everything that she said to him, but I'll take it. And then a speculation I had, and like something I find to be really interesting, is that so I remember saying I didn't want Rory to die because I didn't want like Tabiana and Trina to have to like mourn him. And I think it's been really interesting that their plan has not included Trina worried about people thinking that she's moved on too fast. So like so I'm wondering, I'm speculating that there's going to be something else with Rory's family that happens, because we haven't met them, and it's been purposely said that we haven't met them. So like they could have had a funeral, and Trina could have said, "Oh, you know, they came and I spoke to them," but they made a big deal about his family not coming. And so his family didn't come, and then like we kind of see Trina and Spencer like kind of serving face a little bit, because they both look really great at the cover of that the cover of that paper on The Invader. And so like we're seeing these things, and they're like talking about goading Esme out, but I'm wondering if it's going to be like goading some of Rory's family to be frustrated and mad that Trina has like publicly seemed to move on so quickly. So I'm interested in seeing what happens with that, and how that kind of shakes up and shapes up. And also I'm interested to see like if that becomes something that even people who are not Rory's family have something to say about. If that's like something her family has something to say about. So yeah, I'm interested to see like if Rory actually becomes more interesting in death than he is in life, because he already has been.
I was about to say mission accomplished. The storyline turn alone.
And somebody said, and I think that this is right. Um, I'm afraid that Britt will die saving Joss, and Britt's death will be a barrier to Sprina because Spencer will blame himself. And I think that all of these things are like really true, and there's so many natural barriers and natural stories to tell that they actually don't need any more barriers. Let's just move on. Let's move forward with it. What about you, Tonya?
Interesting that you wrote that, because I actually, in my one of my hot takes was just like, why did they make a point to just say that their family didn't come? Because I was wondering what that was about. Because I was like, they could have easily had said in the dialogue, "Oh, it was great to see Rory's mom," and blah blah blah. But they didn't. They really made a point to say that he didn't come, and it really they didn't come, and so that was a real interesting hot take of mine. Um, so yeah, what worked for me this week? What worked for me? Again, Laura and her brothers, which we already talked about. Um, Sprina's bad plan is working for me. Okay, so the plan is bad, but I love it because it gives us an opportunity to see them be romantic, even if they're faking it. But I still love seeing how they're getting close to one another and hugging and looking longfully in each other's eyes and saying romantic things. And it was sweet and I loved it. So I love the bad plan. And I love that they're still having bad plans. Like I said previously, I love that despite everything that Spencer has gone through, he still has bad plans and he still has a lot of learning to do. He's still very self centered and all of that. And so this is all part of that. So the bad plan is working for me a lot. Um, Also, what worked for me this week was Brad and Maxie scenes. I don't know how often they interact, but I loved seeing them kind of pseudo fight to pretend like they're the best friend of Brit or they know Brit better than the other person, which really it was kind of ridiculous for Maxie to say something like that, but I love the energy that she came with it. So it's like, that's fine because Brad has known Brit through thick and thin from way back when. And so for her to say that she knows Britt better than Brad was really reaching, but I love that energy that she feels really close to Britt. And so I like the interaction that they had, the sniping and the back and forth. And then I love the party that they put together for her. So I liked that. Hopefully we can see more of Brad and Maxie scenes. Maybe when they find out that she left and they're commiserating together, maybe they become friends. They seem like they would be natural friends. At least the fashionista Maxie that she was before would seem like she would actually connect with Brad. And so it would be nice to see them together. Um, Overall, for the year, what works for me, I agree. Definitely Vanna works. I agree. Definitely the teen scene is probably one of my favorite stories, scenes throughout the year. What also worked for me, and we've talked about this before too, is the use of vets throughout the year. Loved having them be part of the canvas, love having them have great stories, love having them interact with the teens throughout the whole year. Particularly, I guess my favorite scene throughout the whole year was Jeannie Francis and Charles Shaughnessy, along with Nicholas and Avery at that tea party when he first comes over to the penthouse and they're going back and forth. Those were like my favorite scenes. Also loved, the scenes at the courthouse. Um, but just having them have a storyline and their own storyline, just being a central part of the canvas. I love GH's use of vets and not just putting them in the back burner in the corner coming out for the holidays. Now, some of them are treated like that, but for the most part, we have really great vets who are part of the canvas, part of the storyline. And so I love that, which is going to kind of go into a little bit of what's not working for me. So I think my favorite storyline that made use of everybody, I feel, was probably, and you guys are probably going to be like, cringe, because it's also my least favorite storyline. But basically, the sex tape, because it did make use of everybody on the canvas, and a lot of people interacted with Trina and trying to figure out the problem. It, like, everybody's hands were kind of in that storyline. It lasted a long time. It brought us some really great acting chops from Avery Pohl and from um Tabiana. It was great. And Nicholas Chavez. But also it was my least favorite storyline, if we can transition like I usually do. Into what I don't like is that it was horrible because it didn't resolve some things that needed to be resolved. The idea of drugging and framing a Black woman and getting away with it, not enough attention was paid to the horrible reality that this is something that Black women and people in general are being framed of crimes, and not having any kind of resolution or justice behind it. The fact that GH kind of glossed over it, I guess we're still waiting to see Esme be punished for it. It's still nagging to me. I didn't feel like there was enough talk about it. We did see some brief consequences of Trina having to go to jail from her mom, and that was a great conversation with her mom and Stella, but it wasn't enough for me. And I still don't feel like enough is being brought up about the fact that Trina was drugged. It's a painful, sticking point to me personally. The police investigation was horrible. They really could have nipped this crime in the bud if they checked for fingerprints on the phone, but they didn't. Everybody was inept up until the very last minute. I didn't like how, now Curtis is over every single step that Trina makes, but during the whole, trial and everything, he was focused on other things. I didn't like that. I didn't like that, everybody else. I mean, Spinelli, he could have solved the crime really easy, but he didn't. I just feel like, so there's kind of a love-hate in that storyline, is that it could have been really, really good if they had actually given it the treatment that it deserved. And so, yeah, that's kind of, it was a love-hate storyline for me.
That's why I chose The Hook over, because I felt like that storyline, what they're finally getting right in this storyline, so many of the things they got wrong with the sex tape, like, it's like it brings together all these characters that maybe normally wouldn't interact or we haven't seen interact in a long time without being hella traumatizing. Like, you can be like, have like things be scary and even be violent without being traumatizing the way that the sex tape storyline was. Yeah. It had like so many great performances and so many of my faves involved, but didn't really do justice to the characters or the actors.
Agreed. Yeah, that's interesting. So something I said that hasn't worked for me was that they don't have the range to tell ripped from the story headlines. Or ripped from the headline stories. So that's why we see like the conservatorship being really bad in a lot of ways. Like whatever they got going on with Willow is really, really bad. And like they create like rules within the world, but they get really lazy about it. So I wrote, the writers take things that they want to happen and have no regard for anything else or whether it makes sense to happen. So for example, they want Willow and Nina to be mother and daughter. We don't care. We've moved on. And they want Carly to lie about it. And they want Drew to be looking for her birth parents. They want the stakes to be high because Willow will die from cancer, maybe. But the problem is that this doesn't make sense because we've already established that Nina had been looking all over the place for her daughter. So all you would have had to do was put in a 23andMe or something like that. And it's not like far-fetched because we've established within the world of General Hospital that they do those kind of tests. Like we learned that from Stella. We learned that from like Stella like having like a close match and Trina and Jordan following up. So it's not like, oh, I'm bringing in 23andMe from like the real world and they don't have that in Port Charles. This is something that they are doing in Port Charles. And like instead of, but because they want to tell the story in this way, they just like throw all of that to the wind. The other thing is like Drew has Jason's memories, so he knows that Carly is a lying liar who lies. Like what the idea that he would like so blindly trust her is ridiculous. Like the first place you should have started, even if you believed her with Harmony, we also know that Carly is not above changing the DNA test. So the first place, aside from the 23andMe that Drew should have started, was back with Harmony's DNA or back with Nina's DNA and run that thing himself. And then it's like, Willow, if you really wanted bone marrow, you would drop this, like, don't tell anybody, but you would be doing like a nationwide search for bone marrow. What you will be doing with Drew right now is like running a story about how like you've been dropped off by your parents and you don't have anybody in your life, and like could everybody across the country donate bone marrow because you might be related to me, and like actually give Willow some like agency, like I'm a nurse who has cancer, you know, like whatever it is. But instead we have this because they wanted to tell a story that doesn't make any sense. So like that didn't work for me. The other thing that didn't work for me, I have two more things.
Well, comment on that one thing. Another thing that really got to me was they brought in Phyllis for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Drew's like, hey, you knew Harmony back in the day. And she's like, yeah. And then he just dropped it. Like, he could have been like, oh, and did you know she had a baby? Do you know where the baby came from? Like, he could have like really asked her some really great questions and could have gotten to the bottom of it really fast. But he just dropped that.
That would have stopped Phyllis from pouring Nina her coffee and talking to her about her adulterous relationship.
Drew has never gotten this Drew Matheson has never gotten the bottom of anything, apparently. Because also it's like, it's not even just that he has Jason memories. He has Drew memories. Drew knew Carly. Drew was like, they were friends before he found out that he wasn't Jason.
Right.
So like, he's already been through enough of Carly's bullshit to know that she is constantly on bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. So who is this man? I don't know him.
The other thing, I love Sprina. I love Spencer. I love Trina. I don't give a fuck if y'all try to have them prop up Sona. It's a no from me. Let me tell you something about me. I love Beyonce. I'm a certified member of the Hive. Beyonce, I have even defended her in The Lion King when she tried to get the lionesses in formation. Okay, I go up even for her acting career. But Beyonce can't make me love her husband, and she can't make me love capitalism. So Sprina is not going to make me love Sona. You don't need to use them to prop. Don't do that. Don't do it. It's not cute. Oh, and the other thing, and I wanted to like hear more from y'all about this. I think that for me, something I'm really noticing is this inability to rest characters. Like, I specifically was noticing it with Sunny, but I think it happens a lot. I mean, specifically around Sunny, is that like Thursday and Friday, I was like rewatching the week. And so it was like, not only did I have to watch Sona in ways that didn't make sense. So like he's kikiing with Liesl, even though Liesl has done all of these things. He's like clapping for Brad's performances. Like he's just doing all of this, right? And everybody is also talking about him. So it's like the whole purpose of like the Nixon Fall story was to like show Sonny in a different light. Like that was like supposed to be the whole thing. And then they should have rested him. They should have said, okay, great. These people are together. Let's stop like having this story about them. Because I don't care about like any Sonny ship. Sonny could be alone. Sonny could be with the whole town. You could put Sonny with Monica. They can be in the Quartermain attic together. I don't care. I know, sorry. I don't care who Sonny is with. But like his presence means that you can't tell full story for other characters. So like you can't tell a full Sasha story because she has to prop Sonny and Sona. You can't tell a full Michael story because he's sitting here like mad at Sonny. You can't tell a full Josh story. Like you cannot tell these stories because they do not know how to rest a character like Sonny. And it's been really frustrating to watch because he has not added anything to the show. I think that we have like told the full extent of the mob story. Because even now, Tara is killing me in these comments. I can't even deal with her. But like, even now, like, you have him sell, like, he's doing weapons now. So like, wasn't Sonny's whole deal that he didn't do like drugs and weapons? Wasn't that like the whole mobster with a heart of gold, blah blah blah? And so we've actually like told the full extent of the mob story, and now we're like, we've swapped out Nina for Carly. So they're like, let's recycle some story because. So I don't know, like, how do y'all feel? Like, do y'all feel like Sonny? I mean, I think we all do, but like, how do you feel about how much space Sonny takes up? Am I like wrong about this? Like, am I off about this?
Who are you asking? Come on. Be serious. That's not a serious question.
But like, you know, like sometimes there are like stories that you like and there are stories that you dislike. And when you dislike a story, you're like, oh, it takes up too much space or whatever, when really it's just like you don't like it. But it I think actually his presence impedes the rest of the characters from telling real story. And I think it was Jen M who was talking about, and like Finola Hughes was saying that she thinks that Sonny is going to be the one to take Victor down. Nobody wants to see that.
No, because it's supposed to be Laura. This is Laura's thing. Why are they making it about Sonny? That would really piss me off. And I would be pissed off if I was Jeannie Francis too, if they did that.
I don't see that happening, actually. And maybe this is just me putting too much faith in common sense, but it just doesn't feel like they're also writing Sonny to be a super relevant character anymore. Like, there is his contract with his, whatever episodes that they need to give him, the amount of airtime, which, they're going to use because Frank's got to keep that budget tight. And so if I paid for the actor, I might as well just use them. Which also was like, explains a lot of Marcus's writing this year. But we're talking about Sonny right now. But I think all the points that you've made, like, they're not giving him real story. He looks very foolish in all the stories that he's in. Especially the mob stories. So it really feels like this writing is giving transition to retirement. It's giving Monica in the attic, honestly. It's like prelude to going up to the attic and like coming out every once in a while. I actually, even though like I don't like him taking up space in these other stories, but he's not even doing it in a meaningful way. Right. Like with the weird motorcycle thing, like he was like, well, I know how to do motorcycles. That was it. And then they were like, okay, bye. Sunny. It's like, it's almost feels like some of these things that happen with Sunny where like magically he can fix motorcycles, or like he always has the answers because of Alzheimer's, or like
Oh my
all
God.
these things actually just feel like trade-offs for an actual story. Because even in his own story, like with the mob stuff, it's actually Dex and Michael's story, the Mex story. Which
you know,
what a waste of chemistry. But so I agree. I think the use of him is silly. The way that they're using him, how much time he's taking up, and there's just a certain level of it being fixed because of his contract, because of Maurice's contract. And so I don't see that changing anytime soon, but I would rather him be kind of like backburnered in its his own way than it like meaningfully having a story. Maybe that's my controversial take. Just like,
I hear that. And it's somebody in the chat who's like, Michael's irresponsible, putting his family in danger, and I agree. And I think that part of my point is that they can't tell a story from Michael that's outside of his parents because his parents are so present, like they don't rest them. So like Michael could actually be a better character, I mean maybe, and tell better story if it didn't have to be centered around Sunny. I think that, like, I think about Asante, for example. We get all of this Sona, and like and I mean, maybe it just feels long to me, but it feels like Sona's scenes are longer than anybody else's scenes, and we don't get Asante. Like, we're on the ship, and we got to see like Sona go out to the deck and like reminisce about Carly and last year. Like, I'd much rather see Spencer and Trina talk more. I'd much rather see more Sante time. Aaron, who Russ Holds Back Tight, was saying that, like, and I didn't even realize that we've only, in the whole time of having Sante, had one love scene between them. So I had to see Nina, like, run out in a robe and sit on one of Carly's kids' toys, but I don't get Sante love scenes? What the hell? Like, so I just feel like I agree with you. Like, he's on these back burners, but that back burner is like taking away from like real relationships that like could be happening.
Someone, Medora commented about Selena Wu. I mean, that is the lane that Sunny should be in, really. And while he's running around being in everybody else's story, he needs to pay attention to what Selena is doing, because she's taking over his role. I mean, basically, the gambling thing, getting money away from, taking money away from Sasha, being menacing, all this other stuff. She's the better gangster. That could be a storyline for him that he should be focusing on, but he's not. And so I'm hoping that we see a lot more of Selena in the coming year, of her actually kind of taking over his business while he's, focusing on things that he shouldn't be focusing on.
Oh, would love to see it.
Like joking with Scott Baldwin.
Right.
Remember when I had your daughter on the pole? Ha ha. No, nothing. Like, I hate it so much. Also, shout out to Tara saying her favorite performance was everybody pretending like Britt hadn't stole babies.
Listen, got a lot of baby stealers on the scene in the Westbourne family.
I mean, there's just a lot of pretending going on in that whole show. So
yeah, let's talk about how we've all forgotten that Carly steals babies too.
Right.
Nicely steals babies, It's been a while.
We can't be stealing babies against people in perpetuity, because then there would be no one talking to each other. That's my controversial take.
We have to get over some crimes, because otherwise there would be no story.
Let me actually speak up for my girl Carly really quick. I'm tired of people bringing up her kidnapping Cyrus's mom.
Oh.
That was a luxurious kidnapping.
We loved it.
That was an upgrade. She got a private nurse. She got hummingbird cake whenever she wanted to. She got to see Martin when she couldn't see Martin before. That was an upgrade kidnapping. We should all be so lucky if we were kidnapped.
I loved it. I thought it was, listen, I'm kidnapping neutral, you know? On a soap. Sometimes you just gotta kidnap someone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Liz. She's very creative with her kidnapping.
Are we still talking about what's not working?
I think so. Sandra, did we?
Oh yeah, it's my turn.
Yes. Sorry.
Well, all of this was great. Thank you.
I have more to say, but Sandra, you go first and do yours because you know what we're going to talk about.
I don't have like a lot to talk about that hasn't already been touched on. I mean, always boo Sunny. I mean, you've all heard almost everything I have to say about that. I think the thing that really didn't work for me these last couple weeks is RIP the Niz fake baby. I'm so upset about this fake miscarriage. Goodbye, fake fetus. We barely knew ye. But I thought it was just really, and I said this last week, it was the Becky anniversary storyline that we all deserved. And I'm glad that they're still playing out the fallout, but I really wanted her to wear a fake belly. I wanted them to commit all the way to the end. Like, why could that not have been dragged out the way that everything else gets dragged out? And so I feel like that's part of the problem with the show, is that they don't understand when, like, which things to extend the storylines on. And then they get stuck on these pieces, like with the chemo baby, which is obviously one of the biggest things that's not working this year. Is like, I cared about Willow being Nina's daughter like 3 years ago, or whenever it is that first fake out happened with
a whole Nina ago.
Yeah, like it was a whole Nina ago. Because remember, Tracey, I would talk about her all the time. I'd be like, no. Yes. She's Willow's mom. That's really, like I was like, this is happening. And so I cared about them, and I could give no fucks about it now. Except to make jokes about the chemo baby, which is like maybe not the best look for me. But they just set me up for it. What am I supposed to do? Give me something better. Help me be a better person, GH. Not holding out on that, because another thing that really did not work this year, stable baby, truck nuts, Cody, whatever you want to call him.
You know, that was what Tonya was gonna say. Tonya was holding out.
I think there's so many things that were awful about him. But I think what I wanted to touch on, and I'm sure you have more to say, Tonya. I'm not going to talk about all the things that didn't work about him because we don't have all day. But I really hated the way that he dragged down all these characters. Like, well, first of all, we are all victims of Cody and having to be exposed to him. But let's talk about some of the others. Mac and Felicia. Wow. I'm so sorry to them, to their families, to all of us. I'm sorry that he's actually related to Mac, or that, he's actually Mac's son. I'm sorry that they are acting like it's a good thing. I'm sorry that they were sad when he lied about the paternity test. I'm just sorry that they have to go through this. I mean, haven't they been through enough as a family? Oh, what's going on with my hair? Sorry. I'm not used to this reflection. And yeah, it just really, really, I mean, I feel like we just got Felicia back in a lot of ways, and then have to see her both prop Cody and Holly. So let's not forget about how that was a fail. So it just wasn't working for me. Maxie harassing Britt to give both Maxie and Brad debasing themselves to defend Cody to Britt.
Not debasing
Debasing themselves. I'll say it again. And then, like, of course, we all know that I call this storyline conning a dying woman. So of course, there's Britt, who I know, like, people have mixed feelings about Britt. Some people love her. A lot of people hate her. Some people are neutral. But we can all admit that Kelly T-Ball did not deserve this as her final storyline.
No.
Emmy Award-winning actress. And this is like, and obviously her leaving the show is a big deal, right? They've done all this to do about her leaving. And what were they doing with this other storyline? Why put her through this thing but for his propping? So like her Huntington's became about him. I guess he's going to be a better person now or something. It just wasn't working. And let us not forget Leo propping. How could we use Leo in this way? And perhaps the most egregious of it all, the Sante propping. This is not how I want to see my Sante. It was very, like, Dante, what have you done? Of all the things that Dante has done, including being a cop, bringing Cody into our lives is the worst. Dante, you have a lot of making up to do in 2023.
Tonya, I want you to say what you have to say about Cody, and then I have a Cody prediction.
Oh gosh. That he's gonna die. He's gonna be hooked. Is that the prediction?
Sadly, no.
Oh, okay. So as we all know, Cody never works. Capitalize, bold, in italics with bright red colors. He does not work. And he definitely did not work for me these past couple of weeks. Did not need to see him trying to beg for a chance with Britt. That made me hurl. Did not need to see him all up in the mix on Christmas, pretending like he had something to do with the birth of a baby. Did not need to see him giving, longing puppy dog eyes across the room at the Quartermains. Did not need to see him, period. Glad he wasn't at the party. Because that would have been like, oh God, I would have turned it off. I would have missed Brina. The worst thing about Cody is that, like you said, it was such a waste of really good opportunity for Emmy-winning actress Britt, as well as Roger Howarth. The biggest loss.
Yep.
That they could have been together. And it didn't happen because we needed to prop up this, nondescript white guy for no reason. Who's a waste of our space and our time, our energy, our thoughts. He's a waste of my hatred. I should be hating somebody more worthy, but I can't because he's all up in my face. It's really insulting. GH, Frank, whoever thinks that, Cody is worth our time. So quit. Stop it. I do not need to see him in 2023.
Well, I have two things. One, when I look at Cody, I think of someone who doesn't wash their legs. Whoop. Ever. Like, never has washed his legs. Like, is confused that people wash their legs. Like, that's like the vibe I get from him.
Yeah.
And two, the thing I hate the most, I think they're going to give him to Sasha.
Yeah. I think so too.
Come back, Tonya.
Yeah.
Sasha, don't forget, is a horse girl.
Oh, that's right. She is.
Yeah. So I sadly think that that's what's going to happen. And I feel really bad because hasn't Sophia been through enough?
Yeah, they are going to do that because, or at least I agree, because there's also a spoiler around them having a scene together.
Damn it, because I really thought they were going to put her back with Chase.
I think that that's also a possibility too.
Yeah, because they had good scenes chasing Sasha.
But see, I have my. Should we move on to like that? Because I have a lot to say about Chasten. I made up that name for him.
Sure.
So, Chase. I'm actually Team BLQ here, and here's why. First of all, BLQ say ACAB. I 100% understand that. Two, this is like another example of them just putting something out that I'm supposed to care about. So, like, they gave us this arbitrary deadline for when BLQ was supposed to have this letter in that was about Chase. And they didn't, like, they never tell like stories that are rooted in people's experiences, what they've been through. So BLQ has actually been sexually harassed, attacked, and like her voice was stolen from her. Like her identity was that she was an artist, and then Nell slashed her throat and took that away from her. And so, of course, she goes into hyperdrive when she thinks she can get a piece of that back. And instead of Chase being like, yo, you're doing too much. Yo, let's slow down. I'm not into this. I don't want to do this. In a real way, he's like into this dumbass plan with her. And then she doesn't write a letter. She doesn't do one thing for you that I didn't even know how to due date. And now you're mad at her to the point of breaking up with her. So what, like, okay, we've gone back and forth with them enough to know that they probably are going to get back together. Does that mean that every time she makes a mistake, we got to hope that Chase doesn't like break up with her? Because that is not what I'm interested in seeing. They write these men as like, oh, he's such a puppy dog for her. She did him wrong. Now we have to like break up. I'm not saying that BLQ was right, but I'm saying she wasn't so wrong that he had to behave this way for her. And I'm just not interested in her having to like beg him to take her back and then not be who she is because like she's scared that he's going to break up with her again. I'm just not here for it. And like I said, I'm also not here for them not like bringing up her trauma again, which is just kind of a little bit of the same thing they did with Joss, which is like Joss has actually been through something that was like really traumatic for her. She had something taken from her. She had agency stolen from her. And so now she's like evil because she's like getting it back in this other way. I'm not saying that she shouldn't break up with Cameron. She should. And there's no like understanding. There's no grace period. There's nothing for these women. It's just they're evil because look how nice of a guy they did wrong. And I'm not here for it.
Plus, like, wow, Chase, it's really boring to hear you talk about how obsessed you are with being a cop. Her whole ass personality. You know, Brooklyn is a fucking mess. She'll never be like my fave, but I respect the mess. I respect the commitment to it. And like we need characters like her. And so I liked what she did. I stand by it 100%. But I do think I agree, Tracey. Like they should have made more of an emphasis on what it is that she's lost and the context of which she lost it. Because this is also like she is a singer, but she is a musician. She's a creator, and her creations have been stolen from her by her abuser. And that is actually a really intense dynamic. And I feel like they could have done more with that, but you know. And so like Chillin's never been my favorite, but I did like come around to them. And then I like felt like it just kept on going back in the wrong direction. And so I was probably one of the few people that liked the Eddie May Jr. storyline, because it's like, I do like a goofy couple. Like I do like a little goofy storyline, especially in the midst of all these really dark storylines. And so I don't know. It's like they can't even take the small bit of generosity I'm willing to offer them and run with it.
Mm-hmm. I see somebody in the chat talking about like wishing that she would have written the letter in time. I wish that there would have been more real stakes. Like I wish the letter, like somebody would have made me understand or believe that this letter meant more. Because a letter from your girlfriend saying that you're a good cop doesn't feel like it should make or break like whether or not you're a cop again. And maybe you should stop punching people if you actually want to be a cop. Like, so I hear that, and I hear that she shouldn't be like selfish. And I also feel like if they actually talked a little bit about more of her motivation, to Sandra's point, like we would actually like see where this fits. I also will say hearing other people sing makes me like remember how ridiculous it is that Chase is supposed to now be some kind of pop star. Because even Britt and Brad's karaoke was better than whatever the hell Chase and Blaze did on Christmas.
It was giving youth pastor for sure, as is like his general vibe right now, which I'm not into.
Yeah,
I think it definitely was caught off guard that he just basically dumped her over that one simple thing. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily a fan of Chaylin. I think both of them can do better. I don't know. The fact that they took so long to sleep together, it was just like, that's like kind of writing on the wall, I think. That they're better off as friends.
But this is GH, so then nobody's going to get together.
Right.
I would also say that I think that it also, again, going back to arresting other characters, that like people should be friends. People should have scenes together. So like there's like this thirst of like, okay, we saw Chase and Sasha together. That must mean they should be together. Actually, we should have been seeing like a friendship between Chase and Sasha for years. Because it's what soaps are about, like seeing these relationships play out that aren't just like pushed or moved in the way of like being a couple. Like people can be friends, people can have a drink, people can catch up. And because we don't allow, especially that age group, like that age group should be friend grouping. And instead, it's like every time we see people together, it's like, oh, they must be putting them together as a couple, and not like they must be like allowing us to let people be friends.
Yeah, that age group was at their best when they were being friends.
Mm-hmm.
With the Chillo and
Mace? I don't
Mace.
know.
Yeah.
No, that was me loving Michael and Chase.
But yes, before there was Mex, there was Mace.
Do y'all have hot takes? I know that we were going to do previews for the week ahead, but then Sandra, do you have the Soap Opera Digest thing or no?
Oh, I do.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I'm going to cut down some of my hot takes, but do y'all have any hot takes?
I just have one. This was the only note I took. Last night I was like, let me smoke a joint and take some notes. This is the only note that I have. And it's actually the title of my notes document because that's how stoned I was.
I love this for you.
The title of this episode's notes is Spencer, We the People, Cassadine. Mr. Spencer, I'm not a cop. I'm a Cassadine. Maybe the best things he's ever said.
He said, I'm not a cop. I'm not a what?
I'm not a cop. I'm a Cassadine.
I'm a Cassadine. Yes.
And I was like, that's my kid.
You know, right? You know what, kid? You started off rough at the beginning of the year.
Ended strong.
You're doing a little bit better. I believe in you, just like your grandmother.
Yeah. I have a couple things.
Please tell us.
One, I want Laura Wright's purse, the black one with the purple plaid interior. Need that in my life. Somebody.
Oh, she was hiding all her secrets?
Yeah, the one that was hiding all her secrets. I want that.
We all need a purse where we can hide all our secrets. Yes.
I just need that because purple's my favorite color, and just seeing that interior just made me shout with joy. I loved Nina's red suit. Maybe it was last week or whatever, but I loved it. But Nina dresses well, so we got to give her that. If nothing else,
do we have to give her? No, I'm kidding. I do always say I like Cynthia's outfits. Always, Cynthia and Nina dress their asses off.
Yes. I love it when I see some of the characters or some of the day players in commercials. So, the Iron Man 3 villain with the eyebrows, she was in the Jitterbug commercial this week where, the one where it's like, you got to go where you want to go, do what you want to do. She was riding with her mama on the dual bike. So I love seeing that. And then I liked seeing, here's how I would have ended the show this year. I know y'all have some feelings about how the show ended during New Year's, because I did. I was like, first, I already told y'all I wanted Esme to pull Marcellus' hand and pull him off the parapet. I wanted to see Austin and Britt kiss.
Yes.
And then she just disappeared. I really was expecting to see that. Yes, we wished it and we did not get it. The Sprina kiss. It was hella funny that he brought out the little blowman thing, but nah.
I felt very trolled. I felt very trolled.
I loved it.
I mean, I liked it, but I was like, no. They were teasing the hell out of us.
They're not gonna have their first kiss be like that. That's not what their first kiss is gonna be like when they're like fake dating in front of everyone. Their first kiss is gonna be like sweeping and romantic. I would have actually been upset if that had been their first kiss. That's my hot take.
Ooh.
I don't like being teased.
I do.
They teased us.
I was mad. I was like, give Terry a real romance.
Mm-hmm.
I said, fuck off, Finn, trying to tell Liz, the nurse, about whether or not she could have a drink.
Nope.
If she was pregnant. Fuck off.
Why was he there?
Be a vampire.
Well, that whole guest list was trash. I'm like, Britt, I'm so sorry that this was your...
She has nothing to compare it to. It's the best birthday and the last birthday she'll ever have.
I also loved Sandra, like, because we were watching in Discord, being like, why does Britt have all of these pictures? Like, she wouldn't have had these pictures because nobody cared about her as a child.
Yeah, I was like, this is not matched with the child. This looks like a very warm, normal ass, like, loved child. If a bit goofy. Like, this does not seem like in line with Brit's childhood. This, I can't see old Brit being like, all right, now do like a funny thing so you have bunny teeth. That's just not. Mm-mm.
I mean, I'm one of the people who doesn't care for Brit, so I'm like, whatever.
I like the sentiment of it, and this was obviously the goodbye to Kelly from the cast. I mean, but it was nice. I liked it.
I didn't need to see it. But
Huh?
I didn't need to see it, but I get it. I get it.
I did notice that this was like a way better send off than most people. Poor Peter.
That's why I think that maybe she gets hooked, saving Jocelyn or something.
Yeah, probably.
I did love it when she called Cody a lame stable bum. And Tonya, you didn't mention this. Maxie had some Brussels sprout slander, and I did like the Leo pointing at my TV, like,
wait. Did I miss it?
Brussels sprouts are so 2022. Which actually, I would say that Brussels sprouts as a food trend are like more like so 2016. Doesn't mean that they're not good. But I actually was like, Maxie, you are so obviously not on the trends if that's like your insult. But also Brussels sprouts are timeless. But as a food
That's what I was going to say. I must have missed it. Must have been.
Missed it. I was like, Tonya, oh my God.
When was she talking? When did she say that?
When did it happen? I need
to find this out.
When she was talking to Brad, because I think Brad had suggested Brussels sprouts.
Oh, I think it was before that. I think she's like looking through a book or something before Brad got there.
Oh yeah, it was something. But I was like, actually, Brussels sprouts as a food trend are very passe.
I also didn't care about Sunny talking to Britt about like what Jason would want for her.
Fuck off. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
We did not need a Jason mention at all.
No.
I completely missed that. Thank God.
You did it twice. I said, how many more fingers does Lila's ring have to be on? Didn't Sam used to have that ring? Like, how many people are gonna get engaged with Lila's ring? I've had enough.
You know, is this really the marriage you want to embody? Like, I love Delilah, but fuck Edward forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also laughed about Sunny doing mob shit at the Metro Court. I'm like, you at your girlfriend hotel? Jen, Lila's ring is the biggest slut in Port Charles. It's been with everyone. We might call Sunny the Lila's ring of characters. Oh, and my last thing before we get into it, a few symptoms of love, according to Chris and Dan: random crying, stomach aches, loss of interest in the things you used to care about, headaches.
Everything makes so much sense about romance or lack thereof on this show. So thank you for the insight. That is not romantic.
Those are symptoms of like depression, right? I was thinking she was going to be diagnosed with something, mental health thing. And then it was like love. I was like, oh, okay.
Those are the symptoms of being dumped by someone who's obsessed with being a cop.
Yeah. Sandra, take us through the Soap Opera Digest previews.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So, we got Vanna. So they're going to be continuing to crisscross the globe like they do on the run. And they're going to get a lead on Lucy, and they're going to pursue it, even if it means their ultimate demise.
Ooh. Glad somebody cares about Lucy. Thanks, Vanna.
Vanna's it. Van is it. Everyone else is like Lucy Who, and it's very rude because I miss her.
Scott Baldwin's at a party. Kevin ain't talked about Lucy.
Oh, that's right. Ooh, yikes. It's not a good look for Kevin.
Kevin hasn't been on for a while.
No, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's they've been using all of their John Lindstrom time with Ryan. Like,
right.
Maybe the actor that plays
Who was the actor?
only the actor that plays Ryan was the only one who was available, not the actor that plays Kevin. Unfortunately, it's just so hard to align their schedules. It's like I don't know how they do it. Okay, so obviously Niz are gonna be in a big bit of trouble with Esme jumping off the parapet. Kind of puts a little wrinkle in their plan. And it was like, again, hats off. That was a great jump off the parapet. Like, you know, Avery Pohl is a ballerina, and I saw the grace, the commitment. So great job causing more trouble for Niz, and Ava and Nicholas's love receives what may be a final death blow. Yes. Don't say may. I want to hear just is. Done. And I'm hoping that it's Viva is the final death blow.
I was hoping it was a death blow, as in Nicholas died.
Yeah. Again, pulled off the parapet or something.
We can only hope. I really want him to die for a little bit and then come back as, you know, Tyler.
You're right.
I know we're still talking about the previews, but I need, if y'all are not gonna like do your due diligence in recasting this character, don't bother.
Ooh.
I mean it. Like, and I like even the temp recast, he's all right.
Canadian.
He's fine, but he is not a permanent recast. We can keep him on the temp roles, but like, let's not set our sights too low just because we have been dealing with this fool for the last few years. Good recast or none at all. Thank you.
You missed the section of the fandom. I am the section of the fandom that wants this current Nicholas to be Connor Bishop.
Ooh.
Let's be somewhere else.
Like a brainwashed Connor Bishop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did he die?
No.
I have no idea.
I mean, it would make sense. Victor's obsession with Nicholas and making sure he acts right because he has the real Nicholas somewhere kidnapped.
I would love it. Yeah. Thank you, Victor.
Yeah. So, you know, Frank, text us because we got the story.
Zoom us, Frank.
Zoom ready. Get in the comments right now. We'll bring you on screen.
We'll bring you on screen.
We will. I have room. We have room on the StreamYard.
Tonya knows about the StreamYard, all right? Okay. Everyone's favorite vampire, Hamilton McBain, is left with a lot of questions about what happened between Niz and may inadvertently be responsible for their house of cards to come tumbling down. You know what? Fuck you, Finn. This storyline was the chef's kiss of ridiculousness. And of course, you have to come in with your dour ass vampire face and ruin everything, ruin all my fun. Let Liz be messy. Speaking of Liz, well, she's been through a lot the past year. Most of which, I mean, I guess there was that whole trauma piece. And then she had to be with Finn through all of it. Like, no wonder all that stuff started coming up for her. And so she and she alone makes several big decisions that will have consequences for her and her family. For her and her family, who is being raised mostly by Cam.
I still think Cam's gonna get hooked.
Stop saying that.
I know. Somebody also said that if it is Connor Bishop, that Esme's baby wouldn't be a Cassadine, which I love
Which
because
is fine. Yes.
also while everybody was, I don't know what people are doing because I would have no way of knowing because I'm no longer on Twitter, but like Esme has quietly been made a legacy character. While I think people like have been hating Joss, I'm like, let's focus our energies, friends.
I mean, she's been a legacy character since like she got introduced, though, basically.
Yeah, but it's just like it's like cemented. You know what I'm saying? Like
with Heather.
yeah, she's like related to Franco, so kind of like related to Liz. Like it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even going to get into that. So speaking of mess, I don't know what this transition is. So there's the Laura. I don't like how they put Robert in the middle of this Laura and Victor spoiler. I think that's another thing I forgot to talk about that didn't work for me this year, which was like, what were they doing with Robert? They made him look very silly. He looked very, very silly this year. Between him, like, I like Robert dragging Valentine, but also he just started to look very goofy doing it while not doing shit to help Anna. So
prosecuting Trina off of shoddy evidence.
Exactly. So Laura has her hands full with a lot of family drama going on at the beginning of the year. But she is also keeping her mind on the fact that she and Robert are in possession of the Ice Princess, which I thought they were just in possession of like part of it.
I thought so too.
Yeah, but whatever. It's no surprise that we have paid more attention to the details than Chris and Dan have.
So the part that Holly had was only just part of it. It wasn't the whole Ice Princess.
Right.
Because so he has Holly's, and then he also has the necklace from Britt. So he has two things.
The necklace from Britt was from Holly. But there's also the part because
wasn't the necklace from Britt coming from her safety box?
Yeah, but that's what got stolen.
Right.
And then it's the same thing. It's the same necklace.
Mm-hmm. And somebody talked about Jennifer Smith, but like what Jennifer Smith had was not a necklace, was it? Like what Valentine was looking at was not a necklace.
I don't remember. So I guess yes, they're in possession of the Ice Princess, according to Chris and Dan. And they may be this close to cracking the code that could bring an end to Victor and his plans for Port Charles. So their promise is within the first quarter of the year, the plans will come into focus, Victor's dastardly plans, and Port Charles will have to reunite to take him down. And also, I guess, like, they're still going to keep doing the Robert and Diane thing.
So, code word, Port Charles will have to reunite, meaning Sonny's going to be in the mix, too.
With his weapons.
I refuse to acknowledge his presence. But that makes me think that that's going to be the February sweep storyline if it's going to happen in the first quarter. So better that than chemo, baby. Let's get this show on the road. Speaking of crew, they will continue to see each other in secret. But as Carly's half-truths about Willow start to come to the forefront, there might be some dire consequences for them both.
I thought it was all lies. What half-truth she telling?
I haven't even seen a half a truth.
Okay.
While Willow is on a roller coaster ride as a potential bone marrow donor emerges, and Nina is on a collision course with Carly as the new year develops. That just makes it sound like Nina and Carly are going to get together.
I sounded to me like they were about to get in a car crash.
Ooh. Maybe they will. Maybe they will, and they just like they both lose their memories. Carly loses her memory, and Nina kidnaps her and makes Carly fall in love with her. It's kind of her move. Speaking of, Sonny is about to make a big move in his business with Dex in close proximity. This is also going to put Mex in a spot where they might have enough evidence to take him down once and for all. Oh,
somebody called Carly and Nina Nixon Falls 2.0.
I'm here for it. They
we deserve. It's what we deserve.
I actually think they have more chemistry with each other than they have with their respective partners right now. Hot take. Sprina is going to continue their ruse that they are romantically involved as part of their plot to draw out the hook. But perhaps it won't take very long before their fake relationship blossoms into something real.
Valentine's Day?
Hopefully. Well, and that's when Curtis and Portia's wedding is supposed to be. So I imagine that will be when the paternity stuff comes out.
Yeah, probably.
So then we have a Cameron, Jocelyn, and Dex spoiler. Oh,
my girl still ain't broken up with Cameron because she sure was about to go do it on New Year's Eve. I was like, damn,
she sure has
not. Joss was like, new year, new me, new man.
It's not for lack of trying. External events put Jocelyn and Dex in a very dangerous position. Meanwhile, Cameron develops suspicions about the evolving nature of their relationship. Oh, Cam, it's evolved. It has evolved. I'm sorry, my friend. Heather and Ryan's twisted, morbid family unit will come into focus in the new year. I wonder if we're going to see an Esme and Heather scene in the new year. Obviously we will in the new year, but sooner rather than later. The Hook's killer ultimate plan takes shape and takes another life in the process. The identity of the killer will be revealed to the audience soon. I kind of like wish they would just never reveal who it is, because whoever it is, I feel like is going to be like way more disappointing than not knowing who it is.
Yeah,
truly.
And I feel like there's like so much analysis that happens whenever they show the Hook, where people are like trying to analyze the features, their hands, like all these things. And I'm just like, y'all know that that's not actually the person that plays the Hook. That's just
that was like a manly stance. And I was like, well, I think
it might be a man. I don't know. It might be a man and the actual Hook is a woman. Do you think they care about continuity? Are we watching the same show? Thank you for the faith that you've put in the continuity, but I'm sad to say I don't think they have anyone actually paying attention to that on screen.
Not at all.
My philosophy on watching this show, just don't look too close. Let it like give yourself a nice like blurry gaze, a nice soft gaze while watching the show, and you'll be more entertained. Dante fears that Sonny has lost his way and may pay a great price as a result. Oh, please. Sante will put their heads together to uncover a piece of the Hook puzzle. Will they finally let Sam solve something?
That's why people think it might be the nanny.
I think it's the nanny.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes any sense to me. That it be the nanny.
That Heather that Heather and the nanny are in communication?
I don't think the Heather is involved in the killings.
Well, so many people were speculating the ADA.
Yeah.
Who is the nanny?
No.
That would be like full circle.
Yeah, I don't think she could be the nanny. I mean, I guess she could be.
No.
But Esme and her have interacted.
Right.
Yeah, in the courtroom.
Yeah.
But they could have interacted behind the scenes, be like, I'm going to help you prosecute Trina because I know you hate her. So there you go.
Good. I don't know how she would have had time to become the ADA, but you know what? Kiki went through med school like that. So, and Robert apparently went to law school at Clown College and no one ever knew. So,
oh god, next next review.
Curtis and Portia. Portia and Curtis are on the same side when Marshall changes his mind about looking further into his initial diagnosis. At the same time, wedding bells are ringing for Portia and Curtis on Valentine's Day, but Stella starts to get a little, starts asking some questions about the nature of Curtis and Trina's connection. I should have known it would be Stella's nosy ass. I love her.
Shout out to Stella because I've been watching Bob Hart's Abishola, and
that show is hilarious. I love it. Anyway,
sorry for being distracting.
Oh, please, always.
It's the best show ever. Sorry.
Maxie is due for some heartbreak early in 2023. R.I.P. Brit, because I'm assuming. Austin is licking his wounds from his breakup with Maxie, which he ultimately believes is for the best. However, he may find himself getting wrapped up in someone else's drama, which could spell danger and intrigue for him. They finally given Roger a story.
Him and Liz.
Oh, that's messy. Austin and Liz. I want Austin. I think I saw some speculation about Austin and Ava.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
But we haven't seen them interact at all. But I guess he hasn't really. He's only been interacting with Maxie and Britt.
Yeah.
They had an interaction at the pool like last summer or something.
Yeah, they had that with Sprina.
Yeah.
And they had a couple interactions at the bar when they were first like introducing him. They were kind of putting him with the actors that he's normally paired with. I mean, we know that the chem's there, so why not?
Yeah. Somebody talked about Austin and Brooklyn, and while they do have chemistry, they are also cousins.
So that could happen. I don't even want it to happen, but that's definitely a no-no.
Yeah.
I hope they make Austin more interesting if they put him together with Ava, because Ava needs somebody worth her salt.
I wonder if he's gonna get like wrapped up in the mob storyline since he's doing work for his cousin, and so obviously his family is involved in the mob some way. So I wonder if they're like part of that new.
Yeah, maybe his family's the Pike Syndicate. I don't know, whatever they're calling themselves.
Could be.
Yeah.
Alexis and Gregory's friendship and professional relationship continue to blossom. Boo.
I need to see. Fast forward. Sorry, Laura. Right.
Alexis will end up being the keeper of several secrets in town across the canvas. As Molly and Christina prepare to take the next steps in their lives, the Davis sisters will once find themselves drawn closer together and pushed farther apart. I'm just happy to see a Christina spoiler. Oof.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but I'm hoping the Molly spoiler involves her breaking up with TJ and TJ being with somebody else.
Yes. Always.
I want an Alani style couple on GH. Like Alani from Days. And I think that TJ would be an amazing hook not hooker, hook for that story.
I don't know what that storyline is, but
Well,
TJ.
I mean, just like a young black couple, like
Okay,
Alana. Yeah.
because TJ needs something. He needs to be on our screen all the time. Tree J, no. I love you though. I appreciate that, but no, no Tree J.
No Tree J.
I appreciate your comment, you DAC, but no.
Just shutting that all the way down. Well, Gladys is going to continue to be a fucking mess, and she's going to cause problems for Sasha and the Corinthos family. Sorry, Sasha. We all knew this was going to happen. And but also, I like creating a mess for Sunny. So sounds good to me. Sorry that Gladys is going to spend all your money, Sasha. That sucks. But not suck nearly as bad as you having to do scenes with Cody. Oh, chillin'. They're broken up still, but they're gonna remain almost as deeply as connected as before. And Chase's bona fides as a good guy are tested when the opportunity strikes for him to be a cop again. And he must weigh that against the possibility to do some real good by thwarting the scuzzy link. So we're going to make this Me Too story all about men. Cool.
I almost closed my computer.
Britt's choice to face her disease alone or in Port Charles with her friends and family has profound consequences for herself and others. R.I.P.
So look, does she get hooked? Because if she gets hooked, that means Brad is rich.
Ooh.
Yes.
I love it. I love Brad being rich.
And then having to deal with Liesel and all of that. That's some great story just off of that.
Yeah. And there is a spoiler about Liesel. Events early in the new year may drive her to extremes.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's very likely. Cody's shenanigans. I'm so sorry. You will be seeing him next year. Have led him to deny the relationship with Mac. But his admittedly poor choices afford him a second opportunity at family. The question is whether or not he has the courage to seize that opportunity. Is that the question? Or is the question, does anyone give a fuck? And you know what the answer is? No. Martin is desperate to reunite with Lucy, as he should be. And I will allow him to continue on screen, even though he really, really tested me with his Anna nonsense. And he will take whatever steps he can to make that happen. And finally, a spoiler that nobody cares about. And I'm just reading this in the order that they gave it to us. I'm so sorry to end. Certain business secrets are about to come out, which may place Olivia and Ned on opposite sides of a family drama.
When have Olivia and Ned ever been on the same side?
Never.
Right.
And when have I ever been on Ned and Olivia's side? Never. Free Olivia. Free me. Okay, so that's the previews for, I guess, the next few months.
Tell us what we have to look forward to
I'll do that.
in the next week.
Do that one last time. Well, here, say it again.
What do we have to look forward to in the next week?
Now, Tracey, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you what the previews say about next week.
Thank you.
Okay, so Monday, preempted. No episode on Monday. So sorry. Tuesday, the Hook attacks again. Nicholas confides in Liz. Spencer is stunned. Dante opens up to Sam. So we're going to finally know what happened at Camp Anawana. He gives someone an awful waffle. And Carly and Drew celebrate. On Wednesday, Cameron and Scott catch up. So Cameron hasn't been hooked yet. Trina voices her doubts. Nick and Liz put their heads together. Laura visits Ava.
Ooh.
Oh.
Dante interrogates a patient at GH. So I wonder if this means that the hook doesn't kill someone this time? Just injures? I don't know. Martin takes on another client on Thursday. Felicia makes a suggestion to Cody to leave town, I hope. Liz seeks the assistance of Kevin. Finally, let's get this woman some mental health treatment. But not so much that she wouldn't have I guess if she's not going to have a fake baby anymore, she might as well get some help. And then Friday, Sunny blasts Nicholas. Spencer receives shocking news while Willow receives an important call. And that's the weekend. It's very light on the spoilers. It makes me feel like a lot is going to unfold with the hook attack. And I'm very curious to see how Britt makes her exit. Does she get to exit on a jet plane? Or is she exiting via the hook?
Hopefully on a jet plane, because that way she can come back.
I think Kelly moved to London, so
yeah, but she can still come back.
I'm not gonna lie to you, they could really line up all of the Westbournes in Hook, just through all of them,
including James.
Fuck them kids. You know, a sacrifice is a sacrifice.
Well, I don't know that I feel that way, but I honor your feelings.
She can do away with Nina for show.
Yeah, goodbye.
Look Nina out of town.
But I am intrigued at the prospect of Nina kidnapping Carly and trying to like romance her.
that would mean Tree too, because Tree is a Westbourne.
Yes.
There you go.
So is Wiley.
You're like, get rid of Wiley, just take them all out. Wiley showed some personality with this tantrum. He was like,
Especially Wiley.
Like, no, doctor, no. He showed himself out.
My favorite.
That would make Nina intriguing to me. Let her wear like some badass outfits while she got Carly tied up. I like this.
Ooh, me too. I will say my favorite Westbourne, Nell.
Yes,
Please.
Absolutely.
Anyone who can make Michael that miserable. No notes. And do it in style.
In fact, when we get done with this, I'm gonna watch her run into the courtroom after she had gotten married to Julian in her dress.
I loved it.
That is peak Nell.
It was so good.
I loved her telling Nina about herself. I loved it.
Somebody said they should let Nina throw Carly in a panic room again because she heard the story of Rick. I would love it, if I'm being honest.
We do love a throwback.
We do love we love to visit old storylines. We love history.
Speaking of Liz being caught up in a kidnapping story. Now, she didn't kidnap Carly, but she sure did take Rick back afterwards.
Sure did. And she didn't care too much about it. She's like, "Oh, okay, let me move on."
Like a second, and then she was like, "Oh."
Nikisha reminded me of my least favorite moment of the scenes when Sonny told Nina to latch onto him and Donna and Avery. I was like, this was weird. It was weird. It was weird. It was weird. It was weird. Anyway, that's all I got for the year. That's all I got. Y'all, this was fun. We didn't say anything too wild, I don't think.
No.
And we didn't get flagged for songs, even though I tried to sing that commercial. I'm gonna find some way to sing something.
Well, thank y'all for listening. Thank you for being live with us.
Yay!
Happy New Year.
Happy
Year. Blessings only in 2023.
What was that only?
Blessings. And you have to turn it off this time, so it's not me.
Oh, okay. Well,
bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone. Thank